Alright, I've got it working. This, our office is super messy, and we've just been moving stuff around the house and getting through Christmas and not cleaning, and I don't have an excuse really. So welcome to our home again. This is Luke, or also known as Samohickey, and I'm here to give you an update since I didn't through the holiday season. I'm really sorry, but you know, family first, and it doesn't seem like I've done a lot because most of it's modeling, and you'll see that in upcoming speed art videos. But for now, let's jump into what I've done in the actual engine. So I think I'd mentioned that I'd outgrown this little Jaeger keep. Definitely going to keep the art style, and I'll probably still use this for something. If anything, just taking the pieces apart and reusing them in different Blender files and saving myself some work. We have a new kitten in the house named Jones, who you might see. Unless I showed her last time, but I don't think I did. Maybe I did. Anyways, so I've been working on more containers. These barrels I already had as just static meshes with physics on them with their collision, but now I've been making containers by genre of what they hold. So barrels, crates, sacks, pots, those are all going to hold food items. Then later for equipment, there'll be armor racks, chests, things like that, and same thing for weapon racks and stuff like that for weapons. So that's some fun stuff I've been working on. I've been doing these castle pieces. This is what's been taking me so long because I do all of the buildings inside and out. So I want to make sure everything has an interior and an exterior, and a lot of the reason it takes me so long is because I'm playing with level streaming and Unreal Engine so that the exterior can stay loaded from quite the distance, but the interior will be basically loaded upon you getting close enough to enter the building. That way, hopefully it helps optimize stuff so that when I've got bigger cities, you know, you might be up on a mountaintop and see them from up here, you know, whatever, you're coming out of the woods, you might see them, the full city, but really there's no interiors until you get closer, like this range or something, and then when you start getting into them, you can walk through them and see them. This is built off of a real castle, kind of, done my own way. And I forget the castle name. I'll probably post it in the description or something. But, dude, I'm just looking at the webcam preview. I'm so sorry that it's so messy back there. But I can't delay updates for you guys just because I'm messy. So anyways, these are just the basics. I'm going to add, you know, some details around the windows that will also be separate meshes that load in. That way I can use like one mesh for a lot of windows, and hopefully it saves on loading screen time. I also will have, like, you know, this is not really what the door is going to look like. This is just mostly for collision, so I know how big the doors have to be. Then I'll put different shaped doors and stuff on them. But I mostly wanted to see if this size was a good enough size, and test some other stuff. So I have this gate here. There's actually two gates, but this gate, this back gate isn't on right now because I wanted to make sure this one works first. Then I'll put another gate back here, and then I'll probably put two big closing doors behind it, so you'll see the gate and then you'll see the two big doors. That's how a lot of gatehouses have it. Not all of them, but. And then I've got some little slits. The collision actually matches up with those window pieces, same with this little one. So when people are sieging the castle or whatever, you'll be able to shoot arrows out of here and in if you're a good enough shot, I guess. But that, I mean, they'll be right up against it, so they'll have an easier time aiming out of it than you would aiming into it. And still working on some more meshes for the ground, for forests, bushes, stuff like that. And I'm working on a lot more food right now, and let's just jump in and play a little preview. We'll start with with 2 players, but I still haven't gotten like my inventory HUD stuff in here, so we'll see. We'll see how this goes. And actually, I'm gonna stop the recording really quick so I can arrange my windows, and then I'll start it back up. So that's why you're gonna see a little cut here. Okay, and we're back. So I'm still working on HUD artwork and doing some more programming to get our original Vital system in here, but that hasn't really been a priority since I've been working on building meshes and some other stuff. So excuse the HUD right now and the inventory and stuff. It's gonna look funky, but let's go in here and we'll grab. You can see I still haven't fixed how things equipped quite yet. But things are working well enough that I needed a break, so I'm working on some different stuff. Let's check out these little barrels real quick. They're pretty cool looking. The day and night system looks a little different coloring on my left player compared to the right player, but the overall day and night get dark simultaneously together. I don't know why the dusk is like having dusk and dawn are having a time where it's a little more orange on some players' screens than others, and it's not just the server. It's like if I play with 4 players, there'll be like 2 or 3 other screens that'll have the more orange color on the right screen, and then there'll be one that seems to not be affected by the oranging of the sun or whatever. I don't know. That's a whole thing. So let's turn on our little lantern and look over at our friend and give him the go-ahead to loot these barrels. And same thing that I've shown before when I go to loot them. I've decided to play with the timer a bit more, so this is a quicker timer. Boop. And this barrel has timed spawns, and you can see on the right screen I'm opening it up, taking out some cooked sausage, some raw sausage. Here's that onion I made. And on the right screen, I'll just do this barrel again to check and see if it's respawning, and it is. On this screen, you can see that since the player's in there, the barrel lid has come off. You can kind of see what they're focusing on. And when they come out of it, it's going to go back on. And same thing works from the client, or as many clients are connected, because it'll eventually be dedicated servers. Put these in our quick bar. So yeah, over here you can see the same thing. That's very nice. It's working. And great. This will help out while I'm showing you the castle so I don't starve to death. Let's get a little more food. Let me just load them both up. The spawn rate is ridiculous, of course, but that's just basically for this video so I can stock up and show you guys stuff without one of my characters dying, because I haven't adjusted the time that the stat bars drain. And I'm just prepping up to show you the little gate that I have. But let's go inside and cook some stuff. Just make sure it's still working as it should. And walk over here to the door. Just see if this is still working with the replication. Put some logs in here, turn it on. Yep, looks like the fire's come on. That's very good. Put some raw sausages in here to cook. And do a few more. And have this player come over too and throw their raw sausages in as well. Take some out there. Great, everybody's throwing raw sausage in. It's a sausage fest. And no, YouTube, I'm gonna say this video is not okay for children. Cooking sausage in here. It's a very manly hobby. Or female hobby. It's a cook hobby for whoever likes cooking. Any of the cook people. Not children. Sorry, kids. You gotta level up to cooking at these standards. Basically, since I said sausage party. Anyway. Alright, I think we got enough for our little venture. Let's go check out that gatehouse in person. Which is perfect because... Oh Oh, I can't see this guy's vitals because I have my camera preview here. Let's assume this is enough. Put the little lantern away. You can see in my animations that they are viewable by the client now, but I still have some weird stretching in the arm. Probably the IK bones. I haven't played with that either. I've been making a lot of meshes, but I've been bad at recording. I don't know why I didn't record very much of the stuff I've been working on through December. I just was focusing on family, and sometimes when I record myself doing artwork, I work slower because I know you're going to watch what I do. Where like if I don't record, I can work a lot faster because I'm not worried about mistakes I make. It's a silly thing. So we'll just go over here to this cool little gatehouse we have, and let's check out how the gate's working. Get some sausage. Still need some sound effects for like ambiance. It's pretty quiet. It's pretty quiet in here. So this is going to be able, I mentioned in the last video, I think the NPCs and players are all going to have pretty much the same rights. So, and the NPC, there'll be a little guard that lives in the guardhouse. There'll probably be a few beds in here because a lot of gatehouses also housed people that lived in the castle. But players can do this too. So let's say, imagine the two gate system here, and your friend wants to mess with you when you're trying to come in the city. They can go over here. I was having some collision issues because I had this whole gatehouse as a blueprint, but now I've taken it off and the handle is a blueprint all by itself. So here's the little gate goes up. Player on the right sees it go up. The player on the left can see the gate rise, and I made these cool little weights. I could have made the whole system so you could see the whole system work, but mostly for optimization later in the game, I'm imagining this gatehouse in a large city. I didn't want to waste a bunch of polygons on just showing the gate go up, which is a feature I think it's awesome. But honestly, I don't know how many players will really care. Especially since we have two gates in here. But yeah, you can interrupt it over and over again. I would like this to spin faster, but it's a static mesh. There's no bones in here. And I've noticed if I try to get it to spin faster, it starts to spin more on just the axis that I want it to. And it gets like kind of wonky and out of place. So I'm fixing that right now. But for some reason at this speed, it has no problems. But yeah, so when the gate's low, can't go through it, can't open it, tap in my use key, and when I open it up, boop, then you can go through it. Check it out from the other side. Coming up to the castle. Guards don't like you for this faction. You've been working for an enemy faction. They close the gates, and then maybe you'll get some arrows from these windows or something. Or you'll be coming with a little posse to come attack it, and you're wanted. And they'll close the gate on you and start flinging arrows at you. So that's how the gate's working. Or say you do reach in this gate in time before it closes all the way. There's going to be that back gate there. And then I need to put a little ramp here for testing. And then you'll be stuck inside because they'll eventually have this gate closed on you. The gate in the back will be closed on you, and then that little door over there will be closed and locked too. And if you're in there with a group, I mean, only one or two people can get through that door at a time, so really the defense could be pretty good. And this floor right here for the gatehouse, I think I will end up making it little death holes, you know. So I'll eventually put a different floor options for in here, and then you could drop stuff down on people as well. Something else I'm working on. And there's no bathrooms in here. Not that they had bathrooms, but you know what I mean. There's no toilets. So where this window is, I'm making all this castle stuff pretty procedural. So I can use fewer parts and make more castles with it. And all the colors and stuff are really easy to change with how I have the material set up. So I can switch one of those window slots out, like even this one inside, for one of those little overhanging toilets that they have that looks like the ramparts, the little wooden ramparts that comes over. I could switch that window out up there for a T one, like a little cross one, or a toilet or whatever. Not a toilet. I need to get my vocabulary together, but you know what I mean. And then I haven't shown any of this stuff. So here's a tower that has an entrance from the ground. You can tell they're the same tower, but this is what I'm talking about with switching them out. This tower I've made for like a corner tower, where the pieces I have on here is for if you're entering from the ground. And something kind of cool, hopefully before my little character's health all fades away. I should probably just turn off the vitals while I'm doing this, but like it's working. I don't want to mess with it too much while it's working, because then I can focus on other stuff, where if I start toying with it just for a demo video, then I might end up working on it for a week. But it's getting dark again. We'll just pull out our little lantern in this tower. Unless I broke it. Maybe I broke it. Save file issues. But yeah, the light would shine through these little stairs. They're pretty low poly. I mean, they could be more low poly if they weren't all individual, but I thought they looked nice, and since there's not a ton of detail in a lot of things, I figured small details like this wood, I could add a lot on. So the little lantern would look pretty cool. It would come through the stairs, and the player on the right would see the little reflections. So if there's a guard, you know, walking down the stairs, they would see him coming with the lantern. If they're down here sorting through some barrels or something, trying to steal from their armory. In a lot of towers, the stairs would be like, this room wouldn't have stairs in it. It would be like a center room where they sleep, and then there'd be a door that has the stairway, and then there'd be another door that would lead out onto the wall. But there's a lot of kinds of towers. This one is less of less like that. Here's a little ladder in this one that would take you up to the top. I don't have the ladder working right now. You got to make like a volume and stuff like that for them, and I just haven't made a ladder yet. So that's my first ladder, and I'll get to it. These pieces are also able to be switched out. So this one is great for little arrow slits. These are a little thin. It's done with the splines, so the longer I'd stretch this out, they'd get wider, but for purpose of just testing this, they're pretty thin. But on the top of the tower, you could see their real size. This is another example of one I switched out. So this has matriculations. Shadiversity. It's a shout out to you, brother. So I had to get some of those in here. So you could shoot little arrows through there, hide behind this, or like I said, they're not as thick as they should be. But yeah, and I'll show off more of those. The top of the tower, if I had the ladder working, it's more like this. You can even come around the edges here. I don't know how realistic these corners really are, but it's a cartoony game. I can have some slack, and they're great to hide behind if you are getting barraged pretty hard and you really can't save up health over here. You could come back here and eat in the corner and hang out a second, and then pop back out and I'm about to die over here, and shoot some more. And then you can kind of see what a castle will look like when you're on top of it. Same thing with the keep if I have enough time. This little piece is just to show. This is not part of my castle stuff. That's just a block I put there so I could go in from the corner. And I actually died from fall damage. So that's me showing you with my actual characters. So showing that the collision and stuff works. I kind of want to show you now how I can switch out pieces. This is what the top of this one looks like, just if you're curious. Of course, there's no furniture in any of these. There's no beds, no barrels. They're just blank. I'm just testing out the relative size, which I think is pretty good. This isn't even where this castle is going to go. If anybody's been paying attention, this map is a farce. This is my test map where I just test LODs and buildings and relative size and stuff. Not the real game map, so don't be getting any ideas when it releases from watching my development videos. It won't help you. I wish I got up this tower. It's pretty cute. I really liked the spiral staircase I made on it, and probably put some windows in this tower too that jet out so you could shoot arrows from there, but I'm getting sidetracked. So for the spline stuff, just to show what I was talking about, go over to my content browser. This is why I haven't been posting many updates. It doesn't look like I've done a lot, but if you could actually see, I guess you could see, I could just drag the window over. I have all these meshes I've made. So for straight walls, if I come down here, I have like this top with matriculations. I have this top without them, pretty bland. Little top, pretty average. I have another top, this is the one with the arrow slits. I have this one that has more matriculations, but instead of jetting out like this one, it sits flat. Boop. And so I've been making those tops for all of my walls. I've also been making those tops for all of the towers. So those same tops you see here, you can apply to the tower, you can apply them to the gatehouse. It seems pretty easy since I could just take like this one piece and spam it. But for optimization, I'm also molding them so that they share vertices and stuff like that, so that when you change them, they're in bigger chunks so that you can optimize. And so with ones like this, with a lot of these corners that are funky and like this, I do have to remodel them a bit. Obviously when they're in a straight line like this, I can just kind of paste them, but and then this tower, these are completely their own. They're a totally different size than those, which is not inaccurate. Just so making the different tops for everything and different bottoms. I showed you these are straight walls, and if I just, let's just get the speed up here. If I zip over here, whoop, these ones are more of like a bastion style, so they are flat, unlike towers. They're all the same height, but they do jet out and give more room. You could put a little ballista on these or something, or just use them, you know, to shoot people going up ladders. Right here, if they're going up ladders, they've got two sides and people throwing rocks and stuff through the matriculations. So I've got these, and the same thing with these. I've also made, you know, same thing I was talking about. I've got different tops for them. Here's those, these. So I'm starting to do more of like a, especially with having interiors for everything. I just wanted, this is my fake little siege tower / ladder to get up there and just test it out, since I didn't put a tower here. These will be coming soon. I just haven't quite finished these like battlements, ramparts yet, but these are like the wood ones they build on temporarily for sieges, or some castles leave them. I've made those too. I just haven't quite finished the collision for them yet, so they're not over where that gatehouse is to test them, but they will be soon. You can change the roof color, and these have different tops as well, just like the other splines. So that'll be pretty cool. You can throw rocks and shoot arrows through both of these little slits, as well as the windows. And yeah, so I've just been making tons of different castle pieces. Not a ton, but I'm getting there. I'm getting 2 tons. This way I can just do a whole bunch. And right now it's basically just walls. So I can kind of make the outline of towns and or fortresses or castles or just standalone keeps or whatever I'm doing, and I'll have a bunch of parts to choose from, which will also help in future maps if I want to make multiple big maps, maybe one for each wild that you fight, so that a big map this size, if I back out here, kind of exciting, this could be for just one of the 7 wilds, and I could have 7 maps this size, and that could be what you go through when you're trying to fight the 7 wilds. I'm not going to answer any questions on that. No spoilers, but yeah. So that's what I've been doing. I'm going to apply this technique. If you look into the between the meshes. This is kind of fun. You can see I've modeled the interior completely separate from the exterior, and some people, from what I've read, are worried about shading issues with this and some other things. Like, I also have these wood beams separate from like this actual mesh. That was more to save on polys, and so far my shading and stuff is working just fine. We'll see what happens when I actually build the lighting for this level streamed. But here's the little gatehouse, the little actual gate where the gate goes up and down. But yeah, so I could go as individual as to stream each room separately. I don't think I'll go that far. So right now the interior is one mesh, the exterior is another mesh, and then I have like a mechanics level that's stuff like the gate, the lever, the weights for the gate, this, and then I'll have a different layer basically. I don't know why I'm calling them layers. Mesh for all the windows and different mesh for the doors. And the doors will be controlled the same way this gate is, where they'll be static meshes, but they'll be animated in-game by a timeline, so I don't have to use bones as often. I really only want to use bones on characters that really need them, because I feel like they're expensive. I might be wrong. I should research more. So, yeah, well, I don't even want to show you my content browser, because I've got a lot of pieces I don't want to show off yet until they're done. So there'll be like multiple types of towers, round towers, stuff. Those wooden rampart things on top I was showing across the map. I've got those for some towers, so you could have roofs on them. And I'm kind of thinking about some gameplay stuff that would really be a lot of work at first. So I don't want to promise anything, but I'll tell you my idea. But don't hold me to it, because I'm one guy, and I might not be able to do it. But I thought it'd be kind of fun to have all the towns in the game situated where they are for the main storyline, but have some of them be more advanced, like saving my packages. That's nice. One of the main cities might already have a wall like this, or maybe I'll have them be, you know, little huts and a Mott and Bailey or something, and then the more and more quests you do there, the more the city develops, where it might have been a Mott and Bailey and a wooden city, and on one server it's not like that. On one server it could be a castle like this, all made out of stone and stuff, just because players on that specific server have played a lot at that town and made it level up. So it would be more like, you know, every server would be a little different, because some players like one faction more than the others, and you might like the other faction that they don't like, and then you join in on that server with all of your you know, regalia, all of your like tabard and all that stuff, and then you get there and it's like, whoa, my main town is still a Mott and Bailey and nobody likes it. And then you go to your enemy's town from your home server and you show up and like they've got this sprawling castle and you're just not so welcome there. And then you could get your friends on a whole new server and try to like build up and have fights with each other. That's a lot of work. I don't know if I will do that, but that is one idea that I've written down that could be its own game all in itself. But this game is more focused around the 7 sins and trying to defeat them. That's why it's called 7wildz. So, but I think that would be really cool if I could do that. That's what got me on this idea of doing more modular pieces like these castle pieces and stuff, because I also I talked about a little bit how I want my property system for player housing to be like, you can't necessarily build anywhere you want, but you could buy properties or fiefs, like depending on your rank in society. If you're a peasant, you might have a little chunk of land. If you've worked for a faction a lot for the king and then they've given you a fief, you might be able to have your own little castle, but on land that they've given you with like little country divides and stuff. And maybe you do become king one day and you get to choose how your walls look, and that's where it would come in handy to be able to like have these pieces be modular, where you could do that. I can even just change this bottom right now and just do this, even though it doesn't fit right there, but you know what I mean. Like, I'm sure you get what I mean. If I do it modular and I decide to go full speed ahead on making it so that the more you work for a town, the more it develops, if I start this way, I might be able to make that dream come true. Like I said, not promising anything, but I think that's a really cool idea, and I'll work towards it, and we'll just see how that goes. And eventually, once the game's been out for a while, I might be able to make entirely different servers with an entirely different game mode that's like an empty map. That could be a strategy map where you in third person develop a town and attack another player. It could be like a 2-hour game mode or something. I've always wanted a third person strategy game like Age of Empires where you could walk around in your town. I think that's so cool. But again, that's not the main premise of my game. I gotta stick with my main goal first, and then once I get the main goal done, that's when the fun will really start, because that's when I can play on it. But I don't have any income from this. I'm still working my food job. I gotta finish one goal at a time. Once the game releases, if I make income from it and can actually stay home to work on it all the time, that's when I could release more fun game modes. But that's the update basically for what happened through the holiday season. Again, I feel bad it doesn't look like a lot to show, but it was a lot. I worked really hard. And just more storage containers like this that are in hiding that will hold more foods and stuff. And I think some of the next videos I'll make for January, I'll probably make some more helmets and armor and stuff to show off, so that you're not always seeing that same little character, because I feel like by the time the game releases, nobody's going to want to wear that because they're so sick of seeing it. But we'll see how it goes. That's an update for this month. I'm going to count it for January, and maybe I'll do another update at the end of January, but I might wait till February and just do speed art videos the rest of the month. So I'm sorry I was so horrible over the holiday season. Here's to me being better this year, and cleaning this room, and drinking my drinks, and working hard on the game. If you have any questions, sorry I was more monotone this time. It's like midnight, almost 1 a.m., and I just feel bad I haven't updated anybody. So here's a video to you. Thanks for watching. Thanks for even paying attention to sevenwildz. You're awesome. And let me know what you think. Like, subscribe, I guess. I don't really want to fall into that trend, but it does help. Or just ask me questions in the comments about the game. I can tell you ideas I'm spitballing, but nothing is permanent right now. Thanks, and have a good 2020. Happy New Year. Yay.